Hey everybody, I'm Benjamin. Oh, sorry. Hey everybody, I'm Benjamin, aka The Terrible Australian at supermarcy.com, and welcome to my video review of director Jodie Foster's latest film, the thriller Money Monster. So let's get right into it. Now, I've been a big fan of Jodie Foster as an actress for so many years. Probably ever since I was a kid, pretty much. And also her performances as Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs is one of my all-time favorite performances, and Silence of the Lambs being one of my all-time favorite films as well. But I've also really admired Jodie's work as a filmmaker as well. I haven't seen all of her filmography, but the ones of the films that I've seen her direct, like Little Man Tate and The Beaver, I thought were great films. So I'm always really interested to see her do more work as a filmmaker. And I know she's been directing like episodes for TV shows over the last few years as well, particularly with Orange is the New Black. But I haven't had a chance to see the show yet, so I'm not sure how her work is on TV. But I assume it's really strong work, and because to me, she's always had a pretty strong eye as a filmmaker. So I was really excited in that regard to check out her latest film as a director, Money Monster. And this one would be very different from her previous work because this one is more sort of a thriller as well. So, and also what's interesting though is this is kind of like a big sort of mainstream sort of Hollywood produced thriller that's released sort of during blockbuster season, which in a way is kind of refreshing. Not to say I'm bad-mouthing blockbusters or anything. I love blockbuster films. But it's kind of refreshing in that regard, having sort of this kind of smaller kind of sort of film that's sort of mid-budget kind of Hollywood film that's just aimed for grown-ups. So in that regard, I was very intrigued to check it out. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. Like, it's not... Money Monster isn't like the greatest film ever made, and there are other films of this type out there that are better in a lot of ways. But I thought for what it is, I thought it was still a pretty solid, well-made film, and I think Jodie Foster does a really good job directing-wise of the film. Like, she knows how to sort of get really strong performances out of her cast, and she did pretty well with the film's tension as well. There were a few moments here and there that I thought were quite intense. And also the performances from everyone was solid. George Clooney and Julia Roberts were both really strong in their roles. But to me, the standout, of course, was Jack O'Connell, who I thought, well, he's kind of got the more sort of interesting and showy character in the film, and I thought he did a really good job with his performance. And we could just sort of, and we're kind of watching this film kind of through his eyes. In a lot of ways, because we can understand why he's doing what he's doing. So he's a very sympathetic character to watch. And I think what's really good is that the film kind of, like through the script and that, the film sort of deals with a lot of themes and ideas that are very relevant for today in regards to the banks, investments and whatnot. And I think the film does a really good job at sort of showing that in a way that by showing, like, exploring that in the guise of a thriller, and I thought in that regard the film did pretty well. But that's not to say, like, the script, even though the script is pretty solid for the most part, I did feel like the film is not very subtle when it comes to that stuff. Like, it's like there are a lot of films out there that just sort of dealt with it in a very subtle way. So in a way, it's kind of basically a little heavy-handed at times. But at the same time, it didn't bother me too much, but it would have been good, it would have even been better if it was sort of approached in a very sort of more subtle way. But, and also you can kind of tell where the story is going to go, and also sort of the plots and twists of the story were a bit predictable. And the film does get a little unbelievable towards the end, like to sort of where it goes with the story and whatnot. Because for the most part up to that point, it kind of felt to me very, I wouldn't say realistic, but at least believable. But once it sort of gets to the third act of the film, that's where the film kind of, starts to get a little bit unbelievable, to say the least. But overall, I think Money Monster is a pretty solid thriller. Not a great film by any means, but it's an enjoyable one. Not kind of a film that you run out to the cinema to see. It's definitely a good sort of watch to check out at home. But I really liked it overall. It's well made, it's solid, it's intense, and it has some pretty solid work. But it's not but at the same time, it is kind of heavy-handed as well when it comes to sort of like, you know, with the topics that it explores and the themes and all that. So, but overall, pretty solid thriller. I really enjoyed it, and Jodie Foster did a pretty solid job with this film. So if I had to give Money Monster a rating, I give it a solid 3.5. Like I said, it's not amazing, but I thought it was pretty good. So, and I enjoyed it. So, yep, that's the end of my video review of Money Monster. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you, everyone. Bye.